Hello everybody, Northern Hero here, how are we all doing? Now the other day I heard a story, and this story was about a computerised generated person who, the government created to lure paedophiles in, and I could tell, that this image was a computerised, made up image. It was obvious, to be honest. But you know that image, there were thousands and thousands of paedophiles that tried to talk to that so-called girl. Well, it wasn't really a girl, it was nothing. And the police and that, it was a bait for paedophiles, and I can't remember the number. I've just been having a look in the paper, but it's not in that one. It must be in an older one. So we are living in a very, very sick world. There's too many of these paedophiles about, and the government needs to be more stricter. If I was the Prime Minister, this is what I would do. If any male paedophiles being found guilty, they would have their penises chopped off, right? One of their hands also chopped off. They need one hand to wipe the arse with and that, don't they? So it would just be one hand what I would chop off. Not myself, I would get, people to do that. Obviously there's female paedophiles as well, evil as well, obviously. So evil, it's unbelievable. I can't believe that there's paedophiles and they're on the rise. Well, this is what should happen to a paedophile woman. She should have a sharp knife up her vagina, right, in and out a few times so it bleeds, and she should also have one of her hands chopped off. It is absolutely despicable what the world is coming to, my friends. We are living in the end times. There's evil now. There weren't this kind of evil 20 years ago. There probably were paedophiles, don't get me wrong, but now it seems ridiculous. I used to work at a place a long time ago, and a lad always used to be making funny remarks about children and that, and stuff. Some people just laughed it off, but inside me I thought, that is absolute sick, what he's just said. Behind his back, people did say, oh, he is a bit sick in head, but nobody actually told him to his face. And some people need a good bollocking, right, when they're talking dirty, what they want to do and stuff. It is absolute evil on an unprecedented scale, paedophilia. I can't believe it. Why on earth would anybody do up like that? Ugh. Sick, twisted, they're demon possessed, they've got to be. It is not normal for anybody to do sexual acts to kids. I'm telling you that right now, we need to pray for the world. There's so much evil in the world. Great Britain, especially Great Britain and America at the moment, paedophile seems to be on the rise. The UK, we're just about to get another 4 million migrants into this country. It was in Daily Express front page yesterday. 4 million migrants to flood the United Kingdom. All these Romanians and Polish people coming through. And a lot of these brothels and that, there's a lot of these Polish and Romanians there. Do you know what I mean? No, they're not doctors are out. They're coming over and making our Great Britain, just Britain. Do you know what I mean? Why don't they bugger off to Iceland or something? Look, you might be watching this video thinking, cracky, this Northern hero, he's a bit harsh. Get a grip. Get a grip, if you're thinking that. Did you know that sometime in the future we could have a Pakistani Prime Minister? It is possible. Pakistani families, they have about 10 kids. Well, not just Pakistani, but Bengali. I'm just mentioning Pakistani because there is a large percentage of Pakistanis. You know, you get Bengali, Indian, even. You know, I'm not racist, just in case if anybody's watching. There's not a racist bone in my body. I like Indians, Pakistanis can be nice people. But we are bowing down to their beliefs. Halal chicken, for instance. They cut the chickens in a dodgy way and they pray an Islamic prayer. Some people think halal is just normal. Non-Christians. Now, my dad told me this story, and he's told it me before. When he told me this story lately, my dad says he used to work with some Pakistanis. And by the way, I could say Asians. My dad used to work with some Asians, but my dad knew 100% that they were Pakistanis, so it's only right for me to say that they were Pakistanis. And my dad says, my dad wouldn't even trust them because they don't want to pay out. They don't want to pay. My dad kept doing jobs and that, and they just didn't want to pay. My dad says quite a few of them owed him quite a bit of money, and my dad never got it back, which is a big shame. Anyway, they invited my dad somewhere to a place where they were cutting chickens and that, and my dad says absolutely terrible what they do to chickens. Get them upside down, they cut their throat and the blood is trickling out of their neck. And my dad says them chickens are still alive, screaming in absolute agony. You go to Subway, halal meat. You know, everywhere, a lot of places are doing halal meat. What about if I walked into a takeaway? I'd like some a chicken twister or whatever. I don't want halal meat though. No, it's got to be non-halal meat. Does anybody actually do that? I know chicken's just chicken at the end of the day. I once had food poisoning because I had chicken and chips about a month ago, right? And that was halal meat, halal chicken. It could happen to any kind of meat, don't get me wrong. But we are like bowing down to Islam in a way, and we've allowed this to happen because our governments are soft. Don't get me wrong, I love Muslims, they can be nice people. I'm not on about them. I'm more concerned of the fact that Muslims have about 10 kids, right? They're brainwashing them to read the Quran every day or something. They're more educated in their religion than some of us Christians. Do you know that? I don't even know the Bible. I was told to read the Bible, don't get me wrong, but I did my other things. You know, I used to like playing with my wrestling figures when I was a kid. Anyway, it is getting bad, and you know, on the rise as well. But what I am more concerned about, why I've really brought this up, is that when the Antichrist comes, when the Antichrist comes on the planet, it could be soon, could be 100 years, who knows? But it's soon, I reckon, sooner than what we think. Either God is going to do away with Islam, or the Antichrist and his party are going to team up with Islam. because Islam, Muslims are very hard to, you hear about it in the papers, you know, Pakistani Christian churches set ablaze, you know, they burn them. The Pakistan churches get burnt quite often. I read about it and that, it's on the internet. It's not very nice at all. And you know, if the family converts to something else like mainly Christianity, all the family turns against that person as well. So they're very like hardcore in a way of their beliefs and that, and if anybody goes to someone else, they just betray them, basically. But what I'm saying is that when the Antichrist does come, would Islam link up with that? Islam actually is now the fastest growing religion on the planet. And they multiply as well a lot. You know, I pray for Muslims, Lord, save their souls, work on their lives. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, do we? This one world religion thing that's mentioned in the Bible, and at the moment, have you noticed that in America and Great Britain and Germany they've been pushing God out, the real God, Jesus Christ. They've been getting rid of it gradually, bit by bit. Well, I'm saying gradually, it's been a big one hit really. In America they're getting rid of, well, they've already got rid of Bibles in schools. Been a big thing about in Germany as well, about stuff like that. And if the parents teach the kids about Christianity, they can go to court or something or whatever. It's diabolical what's coming. Atheism is also on the rise. To be honest though, when I look through sometimes of the Christian channels, some of those Christian channels could put atheists off God, begging for money and that all the time, praise-a-thons and that. Don't get me wrong, it's good to give money to God. But if a non-Christian flicks that channel over, and put, say for instance, TBN or whatever, a lot of them do it, God channel even asks for money. Sometimes it can be a bit too much, and that could give the impression of the atheist that these are money beggars.